Is that better?
Yeah, I didn't realize there was no sound.
Oh, so we're talking to ourselves the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Thanks, Daryl. I didn't know.
You missed that conversation.
Yeah, you missed that whole. You missed that story. You missed the story of me and the old man when we were coming home.
Are you gonna tell the story about the old man?
No, you want me to tell the story of the old man again? People already heard it. I mean, people on TikTok and that one person on Instagram heard it. But
well, I mean,
you tell the story. Say hi, Daryl.
It's more accurate when I tell the story.
You tell the story.
That.
Yeah.
So there's this lady. I don't know. We came from the
Long Island
Railroad and waiting for the bus, and then I turn around and I see this lady who is backing away from this old man, and we're just witnessing. Both of them have cigarettes or smoking something, and the lady is backing up. And she tells the old guy to leave her alone. Now the old guy seems, first of all, he can't walk very well, and he seems drunk, and he seems a little high or whatever is happening to him. So she's backing up, and then at some point he is still trying to engage with her. And so I say to Aaron, "What's going on over there? Let's go see what's going on over there." So I ask the guy, I'm like, "What's going on?" And so he attempts to tell me and kind of wanting to curse her out. And I say, "Okay, listen, just leave her alone." And so Aaron is tending to him, and I go over to her and I ask her if she needs anything. And she says no, and her bus has come, so she gets on the bus. We go to the bus stop to wait for our bus, and I look over and we both see him trying to follow her going in the back door of the bus. And I say, and we both scream, "Don't let him on the bus." And there's this guy at the door, and he's confused, he doesn't know what to do. And the old guy is holding onto the door so that the door doesn't close as he's trying to get on. So Aaron goes over and tries to pull him off the bus, but he's holding onto the door. And Aaron doesn't want to hurt him, but he doesn't want him to get on the bus. So I'm saying to the guy standing there, "Why are you just standing there? Can you help us get him off this bus?" So I tell the people on the bus and the driver he's harassing the lady and he's trying to get on to continue doing so. So we get him off the bus and he stays on the ground. And it was a bit rainy. It was drizzling at this time, and he wants to curse Aaron out because he's so mad that he couldn't continue.
And mind you, I curse like a sailor when I'm pissed off.
Absolutely. So I told him to calm down because the guy, first of all, he can't even get up. And second, he's not going to hurt, Aaron. So he stayed there on the floor, and everybody's looking at us because, a lot of times in New York, nobody helps anybody. But, we did our part. I hope we did the right thing. But the guy was there. He was upset. And then our bus came, and then we left. So hopefully the lady felt safe to go about her way, on her way. And then we felt like, okay, hopefully we did the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, one guy who came on the bus with us was even talking to the guy, telling the guy to shut up.
Yeah. But he was an old guy. He couldn't do much more than what he was doing. He was barely walking towards her, but I know that she felt uncomfortable. And there were a couple of other people there. Nobody was doing anything. So I was like, okay. I'm not usually the type of person to interfere, but I kind of felt like it was okay to do so at this point. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents. Let me go unwind. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of this
session.
And I can't wait to see the final. But so far so good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. See y'all later.
See you later. All right, babe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that's Arlie. She left. She's going to go unwind for the night. And I'm going to sit here and draw. Daryl, you still there? Probably not. Anyways. But yeah, so that was the story. Alright, so Instagram has sound. Alright, cool. Alright. Yeah, there's a thing on that I use for the streaming that I forgot to click on for sound to go through. It's just one of those things that sometimes I forget to click it on, and that's my bad. Kind of hard to remember to do certain things sometimes. But I have to say, Dahlia is in love with art and design. She's like, I'm ready, let's go. She's like, I already want to go in there already. So that's good. And they still have the fashion show. And you know how how we all were for the fashion show. So if you don't know, art design fashion show was one of those things us guys look forward to seeing. You know, because the girls in our school at the time, you know, they'll be wearing the stuff and we'll be like, yeah. But now they, I guess, up the bar. So that's another thing I might have to visit. So I'm looking to see how that goes once she does her fashion show. Even though, so my youngest Dahlia, she's a go-getter. She's not going to let nothing stop her from getting what she wants. She tells me she wants to get into politics. I was like, oh, okay. I said, let's see how this goes. She does gymnastics, so she says she wants to at least go to the Olympics once. I says, well, you got to work hard for it, and you got to figure out what college schools is gonna help you do that. And then she tells me she wants to go to Yale. I was like, you had me up until you wanted to go to Yale. I mean, if she gets into Yale, great, that's wonderful. Her grandmother would be ecstatic about that. She'd be like, yes, I got a granddaughter that went to Yale. You know, I mean, I'll be happy too. I'm like, oh snap, I got a daughter who went to Yale. Let's see how this goes. You know, but I told her, I says, it's good that you want to do this, and I understand why she wants to do it. But I also told her, I says, you're going to be in an uphill battle when you go into politics. And yes, Daryl, yes, a meat market. Definitely a meat market. And apparently, Daryl, we got a bad rap being in the old building. I guess someone told stories about the old building and us. About the old building. I guess there was a lot of stories that happened in the old building at Art Design that people are like, oh, I heard stories about you guys in that old building. Not generally. That is true. We were the athletic comic book nerds, but I guess there must have been other stories that were being spread. I mean, stuff that happened in the basement. With certain individuals. Maybe they're talking about that. Yeah, we all lived in the gym to play ball. And the funny thing is, like I said, I asked the lady there, I said, is this the original the only remaining foundation? She goes, yeah. She goes, how you? She goes, you went here? I said, yeah, I was in the old building, and I know. And she goes, oh, we heard stories about the old building and stuff that went down in there. I was like, oh, I said, I wonder what they heard. I should ask from which class year they're referring to. Yeah, I'm not going to mention that guy's name. But let's just say we had a guy who did a lot of stuff, and we're like, God damn it. But yeah, I don't know. The next time you're gonna get into the city, Daryl, but when you get the chance, just swing by the building to take a look, cause it's around the corner. It's no longer in the front. And it's funny. So while I was there on Thursday, there was just, I was telling Dahlia, I said, yeah, I just want you to know, which is lucky for you, even though the auditorium's in the basement. So our gym was in the basement, and we had 7 floors. So think of it this way. If you have gym in the basement, right? And then your art class is on the 7th floor, you're running up 7 flights to get to your art class, because of course the bell rings. You have to run all the way upstairs to your art class, and you're sitting there huffing and puffing. Now, I had an art teacher who was cool, called Mr. Chanelli. Cool dude. And he'd be like, and one time he goes, "You guys coming from gym?" We're like, "Yeah," and we're just sitting there huffing and puffing. He goes, "How many people are coming from gym?" We're like, "Maybe a whole bunch of people." He goes, "We can't tell you, Mr. Chanelli, because pretty much, because there was different majors. So you had illustration, cartooning, fashion, and graphic design, photography, and then AV. So people who were doing AV were normally people who were underground rappers, or that rap career and everything else, or who wanted to do movies and whatnot. But it seems like every time I saw something that had to do with rap. I don't know, Daryl, if you want to co-sign on that, or I might be wrong. But yeah, they did move it. So Arlie has a friend who's an architect, and she knew about that project. So pretty much what they did was, we had an elementary school attached to us. They built them a school first, moved all the high schools into that old school, and then built a condo where our school was, but also built us a new school. And now this school is fully funded and whatnot. I'm sitting there going, wow. And as I was talking with the young lady who was in fashion about how it was in the past when it came to majors, like after I left and some of the stories I heard, she was blown. She goes, "That really happened?" I was like, "Yeah, it really happened." It was a different era and everything else. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that it's changed, and now these kids now have a better chance with stuff, because it seems like, from my understanding, these kids are going to have a better chance with their future, because I'm gonna be honest with you, in the 90s, especially in that school, where, yeah, it's a luxury building, yeah, where I think it was majority Black and Spanish art and design at that time. We didn't get a lot of funding. We basically had to fight for it. We basically had we were on our own, I think. I mean, we did have fairs and whatnot. We did have an art fair and everything else, but I don't remember like celebrities coming in and taking a look at our work and whatnot. Nowadays, when they have their art fair, they have celebrities coming in the art fair, and you have art and design alumni sitting there talking. So, which is good, because I think that's something that these kids need and whatnot. So that's good. Oh, so Daryl, the next time you come into the city, walk around that area, let's see. I think there's a Starbucks around the corner. There's a Dunkin' Donuts. The McDonald's is still there. The Wendy's is still there that we went to after we played basketball. There's a couple of more pizza shops. What else? I think that's it. But the Wendy's and McDonald's is still there. They opened up another McDonald's further down the block, Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. So, and I was telling them, and apparently they let the kids out depending on your grades for lunch. And I was telling her, like, yeah, we didn't get that. I was like, some of the stuff I told the student who's a senior in the fashion, the stuff we were able to do and was hilarious. Because I told her, I said, yeah, you know, my last class was 6th period and that was lunch, and if you had lunch 6th period, you can go home. And she was like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, you guys don't have that? She goes, no, we're here till 2:30. I was like, I'm sorry. I said, if you had lunch and you were a senior and you had lunch 6th period and that was your last class, you could go home. They were like, go home. And she was like, you're kidding. I was like, nope. So the look on her face was like priceless, because she was like, oh my God, why'd they take that away? I was like, it's one of those things, you know? It happens. But she told me, nah, they have to stay there till like 2:30 and whatnot. So I was like, oh, well, you missed out. I think, yeah, Joya, for senior, she's finishing like at 3-something, and maybe once or twice a week she's finishing at 2:30. So at least she has that. But I was just like, wow, things we don't have, you guys have is great, and what we have, you don't have. You guys are like, what? So, but yeah. I was telling her about Mr. Miller coming in late and probably sometimes drunk. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah. I said, that was the old building. So you guys are, you know, nowadays you guys don't have to deal with that. But she was laughing. She was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, that was some wild times. So right now, with this, like I said, I'm just doing the shading, and I know this beat, whatnot, for this. I do know one thing. I'm gonna have to try to figure out a good time to start doing stuff. But like I said, you know, sometimes it's hard when you are, you know, I have a regular life. I'm married. I got teenage daughters. And I have to make sure before I do my fun, they're taken care of. It's just one of those things. I know the one thing I have been thinking about is doing a little change up with the channel. I know I talked with Arlie about this, and she was like, "Nah, I think you shouldn't do that and whatnot." But let me ask you guys a question: how do you feel about maybe 2 days a week? It's art, and then one day it's video games. What do you guys think about that? Like, and it could be a video game either everyone has, or maybe you don't have it, and I can sit there and play it, and maybe you're interested in playing it and whatnot. Tell me what you guys think. Is that something that you guys are cool with, or you just want this to be just a strictly art channel? No, keep it strictly an art channel? So we got one that says no, but I don't know for what. Oh, Daryl, I forgot to mention. I finally got that Canon Rebel T7 camera. So I've been messing around with it for the past past 2 days, because I got it on Friday. So Oh boy. Well, tomorrow's Monday. Have to get into work. Whatnot. Oh boy. Oh, thank you, Alex. Alexander, so where are you from? Oh, California. I'm from New York. I've been to California plenty of times. Usually the LA area is where I usually visit. Haven't been there in a couple of years, though. course. I tend to stay in the Marina Del Rey area of Los Angeles. That's why I tend to visit with some friends. And I've been to... I forgot that other area of LA that I went to. That was also pretty cool. But yeah, LA's cool, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't live out there because of that, because of the traffic. It drives me nuts. Staying by the beach has been awesome, but you know, but that your LA traffic, jeez. And I'm from New York, and I thought our New York City traffic was bad, but you guys beat it. Thank you. Yeah, I do digital work. My wife is a painter. And you know, we just we figured let's work together and just create art. We are gonna work on a collaboration once I'm finished with this. Of course, I was hoping to have this done like a month ago, but when you work and everything else, it doesn't tend to go the way you want it. Oh, nice. Yeah. So I went to School of Visual Arts. We had an animation department. I know a lot of guys who did animation, and they enjoyed it. Someone I know actually lives out in California. He's currently working on Batman the Caped Crusader. I think he's doing the storyboard though. So it's a good field to get into, and now that you have a lot of studios opening up, because quite frankly, I think you should have more studios opening up for animators, because you have different styles, different stories to tell and whatnot. Yeah, it can be very competitive, but if you keep focus and everything else, in my opinion, you're always going to make out in the end. You know, everything's always gonna work out if you're focused and you stay focused on your craft. Are you also learning everything on the computer, or are you doing everything hand drawn? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I would say learning both is good because it gives you an idea of how to work with both medias, but that's good that you learn both and everything else, and you also learn it on the computer, especially where everything is going nowadays. That's good. I hope to see one of your animations one day, Alex. You know, so if you can, especially if you, I know when it comes to seniors, they have to do a thesis on an animation thesis. I know in SVA they had to do it. So I hope to see yours, whatnot, and I can support you that way. Hey, that's good that you're posting just school projects. That's good. I believe because the more when you post stuff, people can give you feedback on different things and help you out along the way. And you can always look back on and say, oh, I did that. Ooh, maybe I should not have done that and whatnot. But it's good that you're posting stuff. Yeah, I wish, I know during the pandemic I tried to learn Blender, but I just didn't have the patience for it because of everything that was going on. But I would like to go back to that and learn how to use it. But learning stuff in 3D, I think that's awesome. Like my father told me when I started getting into art, make sure you learn the computer and learn as much as you can, because you never know. The skills that you learn can help you out one day to make you money. And he was right. I wasn't really into the computer, but I learned it, and next hey, 20 almost 20 years as a surface designer. For those who are listening right now, if you don't know what a surface designer is, I might actually do a live stream of me actually designing something in that field. Basically, look at the patterns on your walls. That's a surface designer. I've worked in a textile field designing prints for almost 20 years. So I did shower curtains and tabletops first, then home goods like for couches and curtains, and then fashion, and now I am a designer for wall covering, which I'm happily enjoying because I get to create stuff, and my job actually has one of my designs for a line. Yeah, Maya, when I wanted to learn Maya, but when I found out how much the program cost, I was like, nah, I'm good. I wanted to mess around with Maya, but when I found out how much that program cost, I was like, never mind. Yeah, it's expensive. And Blender, the one thing I liked about Blender is it's free to download. Of course, I think they have a subscription for extra stuff, but the fact that you have a free program to use to create stuff, I find that very cool. And you didn't have to pay for it unless you wanted to the extra features. Yes, being a student in college does afford you certain advantages with certain programs, which my daughter's going to experience come September. Alright guys, I want to thank everyone for joining. Alexander, I would like to talk with you more about your experience, college experience, so we can talk back and forth and whatnot. It's 9:30, almost 9:30 here on the East Coast. So for those of you guys who are on the West Coast, it's 6:30. So you're just about either eating or going to hang out at the beach and whatnot. Me, I'm about to go rest and relax and get ready for bed. But anyways, thank you guys for showing up, for joining me. Like I said, I'm sorry I don't really have a set time. Like I said, I'm married, got kids. We do other stuff also, but I definitely try to keep it on Sundays, and I'm definitely going to see how Wednesday's going to work, and then maybe even Saturday. But I have to see, like I said. you know, I work full time. I do this part time. So let's see how it works. But thank you all for joining us. I hope you have an awesome week. Stay blessed. Stay creative. Stay active. Stay positive. And I will see you next time. Peace.